Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone here. This is Tofi and Lena. Today we have a new meeting about women's studies.
Today,
Leah, yeah, go ahead,
okay,
baby.
today will be Leah's turn again, and she'll be talking about facing the death of her father and things like that. And we're all going to chip in our own thoughts, talking about what's going on, and as much as we possibly can. And
Okay.
we're not going to let her do it alone, so we'll all have something to say afterwards. So we're just
Yeah.
waiting for everybody to come. We also want to talk a little about Sisterhood 38. We have to get our act together, and Leah is here.
No
Okay,
player.
great.
No players on there.
Oh, there
Okay.
she is.
Hi,
Hi,
Lorena.
Lorena. Beautiful.
Lorena, our sister is here. Can you hear us?
I'm here, thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
great. Hi.
Wonderful. So, Leah, they had the Zoom funeral for Leah's father on, I think it was on Saturday.
Yes.
She's going to be discussing that, and we'll discuss about loss and that kind of thing. So we'll support her in any way that we can. It's great to see you. How are you doing out there?
We miss you.
Thank you. Um, I had a tooth extracted, so I had some pain, but it was relatively contained, and that is I'm recovered. So that's
Good.
good.
Great.
Thank God.
Great.
Thank God.
Thanks, God.
And eventually we want you to feel comfortable enough to tell us your story. That's the point, is
Yes.
getting everybody that's here, new and old,
Uh-huh.
to tell their stories. It's not only about, I've told my story so many times, Leah has certainly told hers, and Shirley, who should be on any minute, has told hers. So we want to get some newcomers,
Okay.
talk a little bit about theirs too. So think about it, and when you're comfortable with it, let me know.
Yeah. And you brought out another book about spirituality. Did it so it got published?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's
Now we're
on
trying to find out a topic for Sisterhood 38, which we're not sure what it's going to be, but once I get everybody online, it'll be easier to.
okay. And how does one buys the books through Amazon?
Yes,
And they're
yeah, yeah.
all real books, Kindle books. How are they?
They're
Uh,
both.
but
They're both real, paperback and Kindle.
yeah.
Okay.
So you
And
can
I
buy
just
it
look
through
up
Amazon.
your name. Is that what I
Well,
do?
we can't put 22 names on the cover. They
Yeah.
only let you put one name on the cover.
And the publisher should be the one whose
Yeah, the
title is in
writer,
the
that's
book,
fine.
by
Yeah,
Rosen.
right.
But most of times he said Ryan Rosen, Lynn Rosen and company. This
Right, I
company
try.
means,
And then I write Sisterhood 38, which shows that
yeah,
it's everybody.
yeah. Once we say sisterhood, that means that there are a lot of ladies,
Right.
sisters, publishing in the
Right.
same book,
And in the
any
introduction,
subjects.
right, and in the introduction, I always
Yeah,
say this is published by international women,
yeah.
and we're all here working together.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of cool to see everybody's reaction to certain things. It depends on what the book is, but spirituality was great because everybody felt the same way, basically.
Did Lorena have her part of
No,
the
Lorena
book?
hasn't written with us yet. She's
Okay.
new here.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for her
No,
to
I
say, I want
haven't.
to jump in. I don't like to force anyone.
Yeah.
So, Tofi, you don't have a role in the book because you're not a woman.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, sometimes I write, but in this book, no, she called me lazy, but I always say when I don't have the mood, I can write. But
Yeah.
when I have the mood, ask her. I
Well,
have,
I have books where the men write too. It's not all
yes,
about
Okay.
women. We try to
yeah,
keep it open so everybody can write, but they don't always come through.
Nice.
That's the difference. The women have no problem coming through. The men are a little bit reluctant.
no, I don't agree.
I don't remember the last time I saw your writing.
No, actually, we wrote almost 7 books together, but she
Right,
helped
7
me
books.
writing, okay? Even I was teaching English in my country, ESL, English
Yeah.
as second language. Frankly, I never wrote even a poem. But before I come here, she helped me indeed. And even before coming to New York, we wrote almost 3 or 4 books
3 books, I
together.
think. 3.
So
Mhm.
when I came here, we wrote maybe six. or 5 others. But in general,
I don't know
she's
what you're talking about.
the writer in all the books she publishes.
A lot of times I
And
publish children's books. I write with my
yeah,
students, which I don't
yeah,
have now because of the pandemic, but I do write with students, encourage them to write.
Yeah.
And that makes it so,
Yeah.
that's so fun. That is so
yeah.
much fun.
And I'm a little kind of her right shoulder. I manage all her work online,
Right, right.
activism, and we have a lot of
And we're
work.
we're
Yeah,
trying to update and put together our website,
yes,
which is the most important. And we also have
yes,
something which I haven't discussed with you because I didn't think it concerned you, but it's Lynn's Kids, which is
Yeah.
helping children wherever you are.
yeah.
And we do it different. Like here, we collected toys, which I have to remember to bring to the
Yes,
hospital. We collected toys for children.
Sukaina is here.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
yeah, go
Sukaina's
ahead.
here. Okay. Here's
Yeah,
come somebody from Morocco. We
yes,
collected toys from
yeah.
children for children who, hi, Suki,
Hello, Suki.
who didn't have toys, and we felt might not have toys because their parents might not be working because of the pandemic. So we did that. Some other people across the sea set up their own little food banks. And
Yeah,
wherever Lynn's Kids is, that's where again, we had problem solution for that country in that country.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in the United States, it's basically just us in New York and
Najat,
here
hello,
too.
Najat.
Great.
Okay,
Terrific.
yeah,
Okay, well, we need the speaker, so we need Leah.
yeah. She'll
Okay,
come.
she'll
You
come.
know, Leah is always asking for the link, asking for, but she's lovely. She's the best
Yeah, she is.
sister.
She knows Leah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Okay,
Yeah.
ladies, we
Okay.
need to talk a little bit about Sisterhood 38. And Barbara, who can't be here today, she said something about vision of hope.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm throwing it out to you, and I'm asking you because the books are not about me. Here's somebody. Here she is. Happy New Year.
Hi, Najat. Hi, Suki. Can you hear us?
Hi, how are you?
Suki, you're there, Suki?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I hear Najat. I
Najat.
don't hear
Yes.
Suki.
Okay, Suki. Hi, everybody. So we have Suki. Oh, here's Leah.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Hi.
Queen. Hi, the Queen.
Hi.
Okay, go
Hi,
ahead.
Leah.
You're ready.
Okay.
Where is
Hi,
Leah?
Najat. How are you doing?
Hi, Leah. How are you?
Lisa. Lovely to
What
see
now?
you. Lovely to see you. This is
Yes,
my
me too.
I just saw you on Saturday. How much longer could it be? Okay.
Can you
so,
hear me?
Summary.
Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you, Leah. You can see you and hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, great.
Uh-oh. I got to put my name right.
No,
Sorry.
you're fine. It doesn't matter. We call you whatever you want to be called for the moment, dear. We used your 14 emails and your 700 names, so we're doing just
I
and
just
there she is, smiling. Okay.
Wendy was a name. Oh, I can't change
I
it.
know
but
you told
I'm
us.
Leah, okay? I'm not Wendy.
Okay. Shirley. That's before we started meeting and Shirley.
Although my
Yeah, some
dog used
contacts
to
in
call
Shirley.
me Wendy Lee, the sweet pea.
Okay.
That was my.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do now, Leah, is we're trying to establish a new title and new thoughts for a new book.
Ooh.
Barbara, who is not here because she's having a problem with one of her hearing aids,
Oh
Barbara
dear.
said something like a vision of hope. Sisterhood.
Hey, I like that.
Vision of hope. What do you think, lady? Suki, what do you think?
Hi.
I actually like it. I think that sounds beautiful.
I like it too.
Sukaina?
Vision of hope. That's what we need. We need hope in people's hearts. It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Sukaina, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you, but I'm on the street, so basically,
Is
I don't hear you
Sukaina
much.
there? Oh, there you are. Yeah,
Yes,
I see you. Hello. All these beautiful
Like
people.
I just arrived to Sally, so basically I'm still not home.
Okay.
That's why I'm
Oh, it's so
listening.
good.
Well, thanks for taking the time to come to the meeting.
Thank you.
Lorena, what do you think of a vision of hope?
I love it.
I think I love it because like I've always had like a quote that I go for, like if you cannot put hope beside fear, you cannot live. And I guess it's a good one. It's a good topic.
Excellent. And Lorena, you like that thought, right?
I like it. Whether something will come forth from me or not, I have no idea. So we'll see.
Okay. Look, we don't force anybody. If it comes, it comes. That's just the way I look at it. That's why we're all here, because we're here to do what we feel like doing. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. And we're all here to work accordingly. And the only person I'm missing is Shirley. That's why I don't want to start, because she always comes in the middle of the meeting. Well, you know, you and Shirley Leah are two
No,
very
it happens.
wonderful
So, no.
people, but when it comes, I'm glad you got this.
5 on you, Leo. 5 on you.
Yeah, okay.
5.
Come on, Mrs. Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lady.
let's see. So
Talking with
there's no obligation to do
right.
anything. It's all very just free. Really. We're just a free group, really, who just talks about stuff that matters to.
Exactly. We don't want to be in a group where we're going to force you to do something you don't want to do. So we try to
No,
make it.
it's
comfortable
totally a
as
free
we can.
thing, actually, which is of it, because you actually, if you actually have something to say, it's kind of like a Quaker meeting. If anyone's ever been to one, I'm kind of a Quaker in a way, I'm a Quaker attender anyway, and people will stand. It'll be very silent, and then if someone feels moved to speak, they stand up and they speak and they say something that matters, and
Okay.
it's,
Yeah.
that's it. You know, no one's forced to speak, and it's silence otherwise. So it's quite kind of like that in a way, really.
Good. Lynn is calling Shirley, so we will wait a couple
Another
of
2 minutes. And then
minutes
that's
so Shirley can join us. Hi, Sukaina. You hear me?
How are you there, Sophia? How is everything?
Good. I'm better. I'm better. As I told you, I'm waiting
Alhamdulillah.
for the last appointment with the new doctor who is lying specialist. You know, my oncologist advised me to see him, so waiting for the appointment scheduling. But I'm better. You can see that on my face. You can, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
better.
inshallah, everything will be fine. Yeah,
Sure. How was
inshallah.
baby? How was Shirley? She's here. Hi, hello, lady.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Hi,
Hi, hello,
Shirley.
lady. We
Can
can't
you
even
hear
hear you.
It's so nice to see everyone.
Wow, great. You see
Hi,
everyone?
Shirley.
My
Shirley.
everything, my bank account, my credit cards, and my
happened.
Okay,
computer
what?
were hacked.
Oh my
Oh, honey.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah, it just
Oh,
unbelievable.
honey, it's horrible.
Oh, so
I'm
you
still
got-
dealing with a
so-
mess. Frank can't find his email. It's been lost.
Oh my God.
But anyway, right now everything's okay. It's really scary.
Great.
Really
beware-
scary. Yeah.
Beware of using all your e-payment online. I will send you software. Okay, I will send you software so you can never have this.
It was horrible.
Maybe
It was
just
terrifying.
a bunch of dollars online, and you will never have this. It's a secure
Okay.
software. Later on, okay. Go
Is he
ahead.
teasing me?
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
Lynn. You look so pretty in that color, Lynn.
Thank
She's
you,
always-
darling.
Beautiful
Pretty, my
color
baby.
on
She's
you. You
always
usually have a
pretty.
black.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
gorgeous. Hi. How's Wales?
I just called you.
Oh,
Wales is very cold.
Ooh.
Very cold.
Very cold here too. It's snowing. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
warmer here. I hate to tell you. We were having
Yeah.
winter, and then it just
Yeah.
went away.
We have more
You
than
get some
12 inches.
sunshine, do
already.
you? Do you have sunshine?
Yeah, but the
Yay.
mountains are the best thing about this time of year is the mountains are absolutely gorgeous, covered in snow. And you can be here at the beach, which is at least 2 hours away from the mountains, and stand on the beach and see the snow-covered mountains.
Okay.
And it's stunning. It is really beautiful. But we
Okay.
needed to stay cold for a while.
Okay. So today,
Take a picture and show us sometime. It would be lovely.
Actually, hold on. I'll show you one.
Me too. Hold on.
Okay, sure. It'd be
Can
lovely.
you see this? Can you see
I can
this?
see-
don't open the window. Are you crazy?
Can you see
Oh,
this?
yes. That is.
This
That's
is
gorgeous, yeah.
this is about
I'm
a quarter of a mile from where I live.
Here.
Oh,
you
that's
see it?
lovely, Shirley.
Isn't that gorgeous?
In here, just in
It's
front of
That's
us.
Long
absolutely
Beach.
beautiful.
Like such a baby.
It just
Beautiful.
ah,
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I've lived
Yeah.
out here over half my life, and it's
Yeah.
still, when I see the snow in the mountains, I'm like a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's so beautiful.
I know, I
Thank you.
know.
Thank you.
I'm like, if I see snow coming down, I wee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have it still coming down
Yeah.
now from last night. It was
Yeah.
started last night and it's still going
Is it
strong.
snowing in New York?
Yep,
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sending
wow.
a pic. I'm sending a pic
Okay.
now.
right. Can we get started, Toby?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
let's
I
go.
didn't
I'm
start
Right
for you.
now,
Oh my God. Good.
Okay, today we are meeting, and Miss Leah, for a change, because I always call on Leah when nobody else seems to jump in, is going to be talking about her experiences with her father's funeral, which was just last Saturday
Oh,
on Zoom. So let's let
Yeah.
her talk, and then we can share stories, similar stories, or whatever we feel like sharing.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be bad; it could be good too. Go
Yes,
ahead, Leah. Hit it.
thank you, Lynn.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much. It is quite incredible to experience this at this moment, because you see, I mean, he was 95, almost 96,
Oh, that's
yet he
great.
had a very good mind. If you want to read his obituary, I think it's on dignitymemorial.com, Chester McConnell Thompson, and you can read his obituary if you like. Yes, dignitymemorial.com, Chester McConnell Thompson. They even filmed the funeral if you wish to see it. I don't see why you would, but you could. But some people were at the service. It was an open casket, which I didn't think was necessary.
And what did you? I didn't
And
hear what you said, honey. What did you just say?
I said it was an open casket, which I personally didn't think was necessary. Because then the Marine Corps came in, because he was in the Marine Corps before he went. Well, he was just a young man, you know, during World War II, and then they sent him to Yale to become an engineer. So he went to Yale. He became an engineer through the Marine Corps. You see, the Marine Corps came to the funeral. I'm not making sense. The Marine Corps came to the funeral, played a trumpet, and then put a flag over him. He was always sad because he actually never did fight. What they did was they said they could best use him if he went to Yale and studied engineering. So that's what he did. He became an engineer. And then he worked at Western Union for a while. And then he had always wanted since childhood to be a doctor, to help people. And he was a very helping and kind man in many, many ways. We're all contradictory. Everyone's a contradictory thing. So
amen.
I can say that at the same time I can say something else, but he was very kind. He would sometimes treat a person like there was an African American woman who was very disadvantaged and poor, but she needed treatment. And she said, I can't pay you, but I can give you some corn. I'm growing corn. And he said, okay, that's fine. So he took corn as a trade for treatment. He was a neurologist. And another lady couldn't pay either. And she said, we can paint, I can paint a portrait of your family if you give me a picture. So he took that for the payment. And she did paint this canvas, which was supposed to be our family. We did not look like each other. No. I don't know what we look. We kind of look like something else.
That's
Like
funny.
what? Like what?
He
You look
took
for
it.
me as
He didn't. He was just like that. He was a very non-judgmental man, and yet at the same time, he worked so hard. He was kind of absent a lot. You know, he would work. And I spent a lot of time of a childhood because my mother was sort of pathologically jealous and wanted to follow him around so that he didn't flirt with the nurses. So I would go I spent a lot of childhood where I should have been at home studying or something or sleeping. I mean, 4 years old, 5 years old, wandering the wards of hospitals and hearing all the people crying out in pain, and then finding rooms where they taught, nurses, and I'd see these skeletons. And I mean, I'd go to nursing homes and all these things. That was my life, was kind of, as a child, was very much involved in medical, in the world of hospitals and nursing homes. And that's not altogether bad. It was interesting, but I have a lot of, hearing people cry out in pain when you're like 5 and you're just wandering a dark ward at night. It's kind of weird, but it's okay. But what am I saying? I'm kind of saying that my dad was an interesting person. I think if you read the obituary, you might understand a little bit, but it doesn't say things about him that are also true. And so when I saw him with the Marine Corps, and he was always ashamed that he didn't fight, but he went to Yale and study. That kind of made him feel bad, because he felt that he should do something manly. And he wasn't. He was a very gentleman. He was a very passive, kind of the opposite of my mother, actually. They were opposites. My mother was fire and he was a little flower. It was like that. I mean, totally opposite. But the fact is that I'm angry with my siblings, you see, and so it's all a mixture of feelings. I feel I wanted him. He was at home. They were living at home in their own home in Tallahassee, which is in North Florida, and they had care. My brother is a doctor, and he had arranged all sorts of carers to come through and help my dad in his more infirm years, and my mother in her more infirm years. And so it was actually working, but they did need my sister, who was the only sister who lived close, to sometimes take daddy to appointments, doctor's appointments. And she did so. And she's a very matter of fact, very kind of a depressive, really. But I mean, all the time, but she did it. And I think it was okay. But the thing is her husband is a hothead. And he came in a month ago, about just before Christmas, and he said, "You're ruining our lives. You need to move from this house. You need to go to assisted living. You need to go down to Tampa to live with where there are more family. You need to leave us because you're ruining us." And I think that was, and he told me, because I talked with him every day for an hour. I would talk with both of them every day, ever since their world shrank, because they were very active in their 80s until a certain point, and then their world shrank when my mother's osteoporosis and hips and all these things started to go, and they became infirm and their world shrank and they couldn't go any place. And these were people who loved to, they did that. I mean, they were like kids. Basically, I was raised by toddlers. And that's the truth. I was really. They were, I always
That sounds pretty good.
they could be fun. They really could be fun. And the gift that they gave me was a sense of humor and a sense of fun. And some other stuff that I won't talk about right now. But they
Tofik, I can't hear.
were so very very active, and then they became so infirm and they went nowhere. They couldn't leave the house. And when all the lockdowns happened, they said, "Well, my mom said it's no different than anything we've been doing for years now." And because of that, it's not because I had lots of time on my hands or something, but I would call them once an hour a day and talk to them. And I really got to know them in a different way. And I began to see them as just people that I knew. as opposed to my parents. They were people I knew. And so I cared for them in that way because I could let all the resentments and forgiveness for any of the neglect and so forth, all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? Everyone's a contradiction in this life, aren't they? And they were, I think, possibly more contradictory than most. But not my dad, but my mom. But anyway, so like he always protected her and always, when she was out of hand, he would just stand up for her and not for us, you know. But anyways, I loved him very much. I really did. And I came to really enjoy the fact that after he was very good to me when I was a child, very close to me. He liked me. He took me to camping trips, and we would just, the two of us would put the tent up, we'd go hiking, we'd look for rocks because I love to collect, I still like to collect rocks. He helped me do a bug collection. He helped me build a model of the heart. You know, he took me to the hospital and let me cut through a kidney, and I could see the inside of the kidney with the fat and everything. And that, of course, that was somebody's kidney, you know, for God's sake. But I was like maybe 10. And it was all very interesting because there were bottles of all sorts of organs all around and everything. I don't think he was supposed to do that actually, but he did. They never, my parents did not think rules applied to them. They just, if they wanted to do it, they did it. They would go out to Disney World and without paying, they'd go to these hotels and go swimming and they'd walk around, you know, they did what they wanted to do. So, it did.
Doesn't sound bad to me.
I know. Actually, I mean, there were some fun parts of it. It's like my one of my children remembers when I was living in Cambridge when I was older. They came to visit, and there was a museum, and it said, "If this is not open, do not come in." And they said, let's go. And they went through and they went into the museum and they were looking around and everything. And some guard came up and said, "You're not supposed to be in here." And they said, "Oh, but we're enjoying ourselves." And, you know, he let them be. But that's what they were kind of like. They didn't think things applied to them, rules, real things. So when I saw him there and the Marine Corps putting that flag on him, it's an image that actually brings me a great deal of pain because that is not my dad. My dad does not have flags laid upon him. He was not that kind of guy. He was very peaceful and he was very kind, really. He was very sensible and reasonable, and he had a good mind. And I'll just say very briefly that what leaves me with mixed emotions is they were in their own house that they had lived in. It was not the house we grew up in, but it was the house that they retired in, and they'd been there about 15 years. And they had a couple of beloved dogs buried there in the garden. And, you know, it was their home. And they had carers coming through and things were working out. But Benny came and said, "You are ruining our lives. You've got to move. You can't stay here anymore. You're just hurting, you know, you're making it too hard for us." And I said, "Dad, you know, no one can tell you to leave a town. No one can tell you to leave your house. If they can't handle it, that's okay. They just pretend they're not there. Don't use them. Use other carers, you know, because assisted living, they chose a place for him. They didn't even ask. They just chose a place down in Tampa, which is about 5 or 6 hours away in South Florida. And they lived in North Florida. And they said, "This is where you're going." And I called him up. This is all right before Christmas, really. I called him up and I said, "How are things?" And Daddy said, "Well, it's very strange because Benny is and Nancy are packing our stuff up. I don't know why." And then the next thing that happened was in a week, a taxi driver came to the door and said, "Are you the couple that's moving to Tampa?" Because Daddy had said, "I will go if you want me to go, but I want the vaccine first, please. I want the vaccine before I go into into a home. I want a vaccine." But they didn't listen to that. And they took him down there without, they did not listen to his wish to have the vaccine first. He went down there, and within a couple of weeks, he had contracted COVID. And in a couple of weeks, he was dead. That was that.
Mm,
So sorry.
what a story.
So sorry.
Sorry for that. Yeah.
I
Terrible.
don't
story.
think you should, they could have said, they don't say that you're ruining our lives. You know, you don't say that to people. You
You
say,
could say it's
I'm
difficult, that's it. You don't have to say you're ruining our lives. You could say it's hard for us because we have things we have to do. But we love you. We'll come and see you. You could make a bad situation better.
exactly, Lynn. That's
Yeah.
exactly correct. One should say, we can't handle this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we love
And they
you.
will, and they want kind of show.
So
Yeah.
I have mixed emotions at this moment because I do celebrate his life and the fun he had, because he was a toddler. He would run screaming into the water, and I mean, he didn't care who thought what. For example, you know, he had no idea about, he didn't care about status symbols or any of that stuff. Status, as you say in America. He I can remember when I actually had to, he helped my brothers go through, he gave them so much. He took my brother and gave him a house and a car to live close to the university when he went to university, and paid for it. And they wouldn't help me. That's kind of like the negative side of things. And so I put myself through university, and I graduated magna cum laude, and I got a master's degree over here in Wales. And I thought, I'm not going back there, because Benny had chewed me out one time, and I won't go through it, but it was Benny again who made me feel, he was cursing me out in the street at a Thanksgiving, and nobody stood up for me. And I realized this family is actually not standing up for me. And I actually wanted to escape, and I looked for a way, and I found one. But the point is that they didn't handle it as it should have been handled. And I'm sorry for that. I don't think he meant to. I don't think my sister approved of it, really. She did her best, but it's just a mix of such things, it's just such a mixture of emotion. Like I all day long, I have felt so connected to the universe. I have felt so euphorically happy. And my daughter downstairs, who's staying with us in lockdown, because we're in severe lockdown here, she said, you're a little bit too happy. I think that your emotions are going up and down a bit. And that's probably true. And he wasn't sure. She wasn't sure that I should do this, because she thought perhaps I was too emotionally expansive or something, because I felt this absolute desire to hug everybody and tell them how much I love them, and just looking at,
That's human and normal.
I looked at the sky and the clouds and the sea, and I'm like you, Shirley, I have mountains in the distance, and I just felt like I just wanted to eat the whole world up and love it. And so that's it. That's all I really have to say. I hope someone else has something to say.
No. I'll go next. No problem at all. But what I'm saying is, it's normal to care about other people. How she, your sister, I've heard enough about her. How she channeled it was her way. How you channel it is your way. Everybody has the right to have their own way. When my father died, if we're talking about death, I think we should stick on the topic of death. when my father died, I it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me because I was very, very close to him. And he lived upstairs and I lived downstairs. And all I remember, and I had a completely different type of childhood than you did, Lee. I had a very good childhood, a very I was treated very well. Maybe I didn't appreciate it that much at the time, but hearing everybody's stories makes me appreciate it more. Um, I was the last person to actually be with him because we took the last ambulance ride. Somebody had to go in the ambulance with him. And my mother was nervous. Ira took her in the car, in his car, and I went in the ambulance with my father to the hospital. But my mother got to see him once she got to the hospital, and he stayed. He held on for a couple of minutes, but not for too long. I watched that man suffer for maybe 2 years, a lot longer than that, really. But he was half of his size by the time he died. That's not a way to want anybody to live. I mean, I just hated his death, but I just couldn't bear the thought of him suffering anymore. So when it came to that, I was relieved that he wasn't suffering.
Mm.
Of course, my mother started her suffering because they were a beautiful couple who were together for 64 years and who just appreciated each other. Yes, they had arguments. Every couple has arguments,
Sure.
but they celebrated their lives together, and that to me was the most beautiful thing. And I appreciate that now because when I look back now, I think of my father all the time. I think of him constantly because he was a very big
Wow.
influence. He was an activist, so we know how that happened. He was just a joy to everyone. He accepted everyone, even with their faults.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and he didn't look down on anybody, and he just accepted people the way they were. It was never a question of the color of your skin or the country you come from.
He sounds marvelous. And I can see how he influenced you, my darling Lynn.
We lost your audio, Lynn.
Lynn, can anyone hear me?
Her picture is frozen, so it's probably
I
internet
think it's a problem with connection.
speaking to.
Yeah,
And that's
you
a
know,
beautiful,
it's
beautiful
internet.
story.
We have tons of snow, and even in states close to New York, they are walking down. Even the TV doesn't work. Yeah, yeah. It's the weather. It's the weather. You can okay. Go ahead. Okay. When I was young, I was different. With my father, I expected his death. Wait, done. Okay, we're trying to fix it. We're trying to fix it. The lane went out, okay? When I was died, I had a wait, baby, you're not online, okay? I'm just launching. That's good.
So why don't you talk about it? I gotta go.
Go. I will fix it, okay?
No, you could talk about it.
I know, okay? Okay, yeah, I'm trying to fix it. Yeah.
You're very kind, Tofi.
Of course, yeah. Um, I'm trying to fix it now, you know. Even though US have great technology of keeping the internet open, so it's a kind of couple of minutes or seconds. Ever. Okay, close this, and I'm opening it again. Okay, here we are. Mhm.
I'll say one thing because no one else is speaking. One thing that really bothered me today, there was a slight panic attack in the morning. I was going to go to the grocery store and I had my mask on and I just kept seeing people with masks and then trying to avoid people who didn't have them. And suddenly it seemed like a terrible nightmare. and I wanted to rip everybody's mask off their face and take the mask off my face. And I couldn't breathe and I felt like I was suffocating. And I actually had to run home
Why they did
and
it?
take my mask off.
Why
I
they?
could not bear it. Not bear it.
Oh. Okay, wait a minute.
Every close up like this.
Everybody can have like this kind of attack. Yeah. I think what we're going through with the pressure, with everything that is happening, it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Thank God I think we're doing okay. I mean, if we didn't go insane, you know?
And it's not easy. So
Well, I think there are
that's
some people who have gone
amazing.
insane.
I mean,
I
I
mean-
teach like
A couple
right
of them
now,
are newly elected in our
I
House of
teach with a
Representatives.
math. I teach with a math for 4 hours. Can you, like, I cannot even breathe, and I just want to I don't know, sometimes I cannot, of course, break the rules, but like I have to put a mask on and just, pronounce the words well. And it's just so much for me. I cannot handle it, but we have to.
Ian, come on.
That is so real.
Yeah. And don't forget that there are many people who doesn't believe in Corona at all. You know? That's
Well,
why
that's
they.
stupid. I mean, it killed my dad, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, well, out here,
Wait.
and this is the largest populated state in the United States.
Come close.
And we
I'm not-
got some humdingers down here that it just blows my mind that just south of me, about I could be in Orange County in 5 minutes. We're the last coastal city in Los Angeles County before Orange County. And you've got people down there that not only will they not wear masks, they had a mask burning.
Oh, for God's sake.
And they went to the beach
What's-
to burn their mask. I thought, you idiots, they're so, these are far right Trumper people. Don't tell me what to do. This is all fraud. Da, 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 da. You know, the last time I remember a group in this country burning things was when the anti-war protesters burned their golf carts. And that had consequences for them personally. They burn a mask and they just, it's like, you must be kidding. You've got to be kidding. With all the deaths that we have
Don't
out
walk away.
Surely, what do they think of all the people who were killed? The hundreds of
I
thousands
don't
of
think they
people
even
who
think
were
about
killed.
it.
I don't know.
Wendy, there are people all over this country who still think it is a underground Democratic hoax.
Oh my God. I honestly cannot understand.
I know we have really got a bunch of crazies.
Okay.
Absolute crazies.
What happened to the educational system that taught people in America? Because I was raised in it. I was taught to think.
Yeah, me too. And I was teaching for 12 years to think.
Okay.
No, this all started really under Reagan. And it was I think, in my opinion, that's the first time we'd had a movie star who was a president. And that segued into the nightmare of Donald Trump. The only
Into
reason,
anybody becoming the president of the United
exactly,
States.
yeah,
It's so scary.
and that people would rather have a con man than a brilliant woman named Hillary Clinton. And they're still trying to overturn the election, even after the insurgents where they attacked the Capitol.
Just say.
How does that not drive you crazy, Shirley?
Ever would have in my life.
Shirley, how does that not drive you mad?
Well, it does drive me mad, and it makes me sick to my stomach. These phony patriots tearing into the Capitol in 2021 because they believed that the election was stolen, or that QAnon is our savior.
I don't understand.
That wacko down from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Have you heard of her name? she believes she was elected to the House of Representatives. And she believes that the fires out here, the really devastating ones 2 years ago, were caused by a Jewish laser.
Oh, for God's sake, help me, please.
I'm not kidding you. And she was elected to the House of Representatives.
Oh, Lord. I
You've
think
got
that
a
is,
bunch of wackos. I've never seen anything like this. We thought the Tea
oh,
Party was bad. This is so far out from there. And there's two women in Congress right now who were elected in November that are believe this QAnon.
this QAnon does not actually even make sense to me. to
No,
be honest.
it's like a science. You know what it makes me think of? Scientology. That's the
Really?
closest- Yeah, it makes me think of Scientology, just only on steroids. Can you hear me?
I think perhaps, I mean, maybe I'm sort of being too I'm not thinking of a conspiracy theory because that kind of
No.
absolutely makes it sound like it's nonsense already when you call that name, when you say that word. But the Russians were involved in our elections and so forth. It does occur to me from time to time that there could be some kind of upper level billionaire sort of reason to want to cause chaos and discord in the West. And it's
Well, there has to
working.
be some. I believe there is something like that. How else? I mean, Donald Trump is going to be on trial again for a second impeachment, and you know that the Republicans are going to vote not guilty. So
Why do the
people,
Republicans are intelligent people, some of them.
they're
How can they do
unbelievable.
this?
They're absolutely. Lindsey Graham used to be a sane senator. He was a very close friend of John McCain's. As soon as John McCain died, he turned to Trump, and he swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. Yesterday, he posted on Twitter, "What if Biden opens up the borders? We'll have millions of Mexicans coming in here.
Oh, for
They'll
God's
bring
sake.
their diseases. They'll bring the this and the that." And when I got to my place where I could tweet, I said, "I'm pretty bored here, Lindsay, you son of a bitch, is if you're stirring people up and you don't even know what's going to happen.
How
You're
can this
once
happen?
again, you're throwing something out there. And some of the people said Donald built the wall to keep them from coming in. No, he didn't. But I think he built 400 miles of a wall. That's it. That's
And they
it.
told it.
And
No,
the wall
he-
so
look,
easily. They show, there's hilarious pictures of Mexicans and other Hispanics climbing that wall and dropping down in the United States and then climbing back up the wall.
This is not a reasonable or at all sane sort of situation.
Wendy, were you able to see what happened on the 6th of January?
Honey, I have been trying to avoid the news because if I listen to it, I think I actually
Well,
would.
this was pretty,
lose
this will
my
go down in
sanity.
history. It is the first time led by
When they attacked the Capitol?
charge of Donald Trump that our Capitol was attacked. They
Oh,
broke.
I know about that. Yes.
I mean, I watched that and thought, my God, in my life, I never thought I would see something like that. The only other
It's
time,
kind of scary.
and yet they were there. They were looking to kill Nancy Pelosi. That was one of their big agendas, was to shoot her through the head.
That's horrible. But they killed 5 people, did they not?
Yeah, there were 5 people killed.
yes.
They came with guns. This is
back.
an attack on democracy, an
It is.
attack on freedom.
We have had an attack on democracy, I think, since when George Bush attacked the wrong country after 9/11.
I think all in the Middle East and all that they have the ruination and
I know, because, and why? Because it was Saudi Arabia who attacked us. It wasn't Iraq, it wasn't Iran, it wasn't Jordan, it wasn't it wasn't Morocco, it was Saudi Arabia.
Okay,
It was
ladies and
them.
gentlemen. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
What happened is our internet got disconnected in the middle of talking to you. We panicked for a minute. I panicked. He didn't panic at all. I had to go back on my tablet in order to speak to you. So that's where we were at. The snow just knocked us off because it's snowing very heavily. It's coming down. It's been coming down since last night. So this happens, and it happens, every once in a while when we have a meeting. And I'm not
The
as
storm
comfortable.
that you're having right now, Lynn, came from out here.
What did you say?
The storm that you're having actually came
I
from.
know.
We were inundated with rain, and then it moved on, and now it's on the East Coast.
I wish I was out there and not here. So it's okay.
We could use it.
Yeah, so as I was talking, as I was in the middle of being interrupted by the storm, so I took Ira's death, I think, first, and I took my father's death because it was very unexpected. We had plans to see each other. He lived in Connecticut. I'm here in Brooklyn. We had plans to visit each other. And not only did I take Ira's death sadly, but so did he. So death is never easy for anyone.
A lot of feedback.
Sounded.
Sweetie, you just click on.
Oh, okay. I just
Actually, if
still hard for me to do
Tofi,
stuff.
if
I still have
Tofi,
a lot of problems.
okay. I
Yeah.
was going to say if Tofi mutes, then I
Yeah.
think
Yes.
the reverberation or something would stop.
No, I think it had to do with Tofi's phone.
Yeah.
So okay.
I fixed everything.
Okay, thank you, honey. So we both handled Ira's death poorly.
Oh my God.
Whereas his girlfriend flew out to Florida and is living a life. I have a problem when I think back to, well, I was with Ira a lot longer than she was. When I think back to the man, I stare at the ashes. I cry for no reason. And I was watching a TV show last night. I don't know why. And I stared at the ashes and I just automatically started to cry. So I think that it's normal to feel that way. And I think that's the way we're supposed to feel. That if you care about somebody, you are going to mourn their death. And no matter how they treated you, no matter what you experienced with them, mourning their death is very natural.
Yeah, I think so.
Your father's death really kind of not in any other way except that your father and my dad were about the same age when they passed. My dad would be 100.
Yeah.
My dad would have been 100 last August.
Oh, they were sort of in the same.
I told you the story how he left
Right,
home.
right.
Oh, he was horrible to you. Actually.
Yes, but you know what? When my brother called me to tell me that he had died of a massive heart attack, it was just instant. All the suffering, all the insanity that he went through in D-Day, Battle of the Bulge, and then 3.5 years as a prisoner of war held by the communist Chinese. All of that left me, and I just fell to the floor, and I said, "Thank you, God, that he is out of his suffering."
I muted you. You can't talk.
I just was so. That's all I could think of, and even through the funeral, and also his was a full military funeral. I was just in shock that he was really gone, and that he couldn't hurt me anymore. Come forward from 1985 to today, and I've forgiven him. I've also learned how to be proud of him for what he did do that was good.
That's it.
I can't take a man who went from a dirt poor farm in a Dust Bowl in Texas to somehow working his way up, joining the army at 16 and become an officer before he went to the European campaign. My life was not his. He gave us all that he could. By the time I was 13, I had been in every country in Europe, every state in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. That's amazing. He had an opportunity to be stationed in Hawaii or Germany. And my mom and my dad decided, no way, Germany, it's got to be, because there's so much more the kids can learn. Those are things that, you know, that I didn't at the time, in all the pain and as his disease grew and grew. But once, as time went on and I began to heal, I really have become, you know, where I appreciate and first of all, forgave my dad. I didn't live through what he did. I don't know how anyone went through that POW camp in northern China. I only 19 survived, and he was one of them. But
That's amazing.
you know, it gave me post-traumatic stress syndrome.
I know.
Yeah. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
imagine. I can imagine, my darling. That's
Oh,
horrible.
but I'm
Very
so
hard, very tough to go through all
to
this.
move this, you know, I think I told you this before, to two years ago was the first time on Memorial Day that I had a flag raised in his name down in Newport Beach.
Yeah, I remember.
You know,
Sure,
and
that's amazing.
you gotta let
All
it
that you went through and you did that.
You
That
don't
is
let it go, you make yourself sick.
exactly.
put
And
that
well, look
money
what
in
I
your
did.
business,
I
that's
didn't
what
let
it
it
is.
go. I made myself so sick I nearly drank myself to death.
No.
yes, but you know what?
really-
You are so full of love and life
Yeah,
now.
thank you.
That's,
Well, you
You
know,
You
can
touch
see
me.
it. You can see it on her face.
it's what you
Yeah.
know, whether it's Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha, you got to forgive and move on.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
it took me going through that place where I almost killed myself
Mm.
and getting finally sober, that my heart just opened. It didn't open to Donald Trump, and it never will.
I knew she couldn't go through one meeting without
I
mentioning
can't.
Donald Trump.
I can't until he is erased from this planet.
Well, he's kind of creating a Holocaust.
He's
And,
God.
sitting down
you
there in
know-
Florida creating another coup. He's the
Yeah,
one that told those people.
Oh, he's crazy.
It's scary. I have
RFK
very
Avenue.
many Jewish friends who are
Ugh.
very frightened, and so many hate crimes have occurred, and transgender people have been tried to be erased. He erased their name from, he erased anything to do with transgenderism from all documents.
Well,
You
and
know-
Joe Biden is now restoring all those through executive orders. And people are saying,
Right.
it's so crazy.
That's what he-
All I remember for the first 6 months of Trump's presidency was him signing. Remember, Lynn? Just signing,
Yeah.
signing executive orders. They didn't have any problem with that back then. But now that Biden is bringing us back into the Paris Climate Agreement, back into the Iran nuclear
Thank
deal,
God.
stopping the drilling and the
And he acknowledges the fact that
here.
climate change.
They're having fits. How can he do this? How can he do this? It's crazy.
I don't
Should've been done a long time ago.
understand. I
This
don't
country,
understand what's wrong with people who are so hate filled and so.
He's
So,
filled with hate, and
But
it doesn't
he's
change
also-
him if he's
you
not.
have to start with what a sick man he is. He's a
But
very
it's
sick man.
infectious. Apparently, there's so many people who are infected by his virus of hatred. When he
Mhm.
said, "I will make America great again," I just thought, I will make America hate again. Is what he-
Exactly. That's the
What he
subtext.
did. Whitney,
That's
that's exactly what he did.
and he did.
He did. He
And,
did.
and you know, I knew from the very beginning when I
Spread
saw
hate
him,
all the time.
I'm aware of it because I was aware of the mafia. I had to work with them because I ended up being accidentally involved in their restaurant, and I could see that he was like them.
Yeah, he was.
He was a
He
thug.
was, you know what, you know, Lynn and Tofi know this. From the day when he started running, when he, by 2016, the summer before he was elected, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. This man is somehow, he's either Hitler reincarnated or he has lived his life to become another Hitler. That is who he is. Now, in the LA
Exactly.
Times, for example, they've written article after article about how he was so influenced by things. I told you that his first wife, Ivana, said that the only book he ever read was Mein Kampf. It sat on his bedside table through their whole marriage. Yes.
And nothing
Yes.
about just saying
We
surprising me. I
cannot
read all
have
this.
this. We
No,
cannot have this. We cannot. Nobody. Everybody who has a heart, and there are so many who do. They must speak up. They must speak against
it's
this.
really brought out the underbelly. You know, I'm sure that all of you can tell that Frank and my brother, where I live, we embrace the diversity. We love the diversity.
A lot more.
I couldn't go back to Oklahoma and live in an all white neighborhood if you paid me. Besides that, they'd probably hang me.
Yeah.
No, we love the diversity. Right next door is a gay Mexican. Right across the street are 3 Muslim students. Right 2 blocks away is the Buddhist temple. My next door
Gorgeous.
neighbors are lesbians that live
I want
together.
to come live with
I mean,
you. Can
who
I
cares? Who cares? Hasn't done anything wrong in my life. What's happened wrong in all of our lives is this resurgence of the KKK, the white supremacists, and it's all
Exactly.
Donald Trump.
But it was obvious from the beginning what happened. What was wrong with the people who think?
He
Who's-
has followers,
my-
Leah.
My
Because
dad
He
sold the
lives in hundreds of
KKK.
followers.
it starts out with poor people, well, uneducated. They're so angry that we've given all these things to the blacks and to the Muslims and to the gays. We
But
wanted
the
to go
middle
back.
class took it on, Shirley. The middle
Pardon?
class saw the middle class, like my father, saw the KKK giving out vote for Trump
Oh,
pamphlets
absolutely.
Terrible.
at Publix, at the supermarket.
Absolutely.
It was
Well,
Oh, look,
open.
they stormed the Capitol. What could be
Wendy,
worse
we
than
watched the
that?
president of the United States, Donald Trump, in front of the White House across the street, and this group of crazy people who flew in from all over the United States. They were on steroids, waving their flags and their Trump flags and their "Don't tread on me" flags. And he said, "Now go march to Congress.
If he gets
I'll
away
be
with
right
that, it's
there with
terrible.
you." And he
Why
runs
are
back.
people not in jail? I must say.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
why?
some
They're
of them
busting
are.
it right
Some of
and
them,
left.
they went after some of them.
Yeah, they are.
And we have to see what he has to suffer for this because he can't get away with this. This is a
No.
terrible thing.
Absolutely.
Then he gets away with everything.
I know.
Well, let's hope
Everything.
he doesn't. Let's not say the negative at this point. We don't know. They still have, starting the week of February 8th, they're going to be doing a second impeachment hearing, which
Okay.
I think is more
I
important than
will,
anything else.
I will pray
Lynn,
that we have some sanity restored. Can I just say one little thing? My father did vote for Trump, and wait a second. And this was very hard for me because I come from a very right-wing extremist family in general,
Oh,
and
gee,
I'm the black sheep. I was always actually
no kidding.
I was very socialistic in America. I was, I loved all people. I loved diversity. I wrote lots of poetry that they considered seditious. They considered me a lefty, a real bad lefty. And so my family kind of rejected me, and they still do, really. Like we weren't invited to, I didn't receive information that other people in the family received. Neither did Avery, my daughter, neither did my daughter Rachel. They kind of like ignore us. Okay, fair enough. They did. My sister wrote to me after my sister Joni died last Christmas. It took her 3 days to send me the information. I had already sent flowers to their house, beautiful flowers. But then Lorraine sent me an email saying, here is the link to Joni's obituary. After all, you are a member of the family.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
Well, you know what?
After all, well, thank
Well,
you.
after all, right. And now you have no reason to deal with any of them.
You don't. Yeah.
You really have no reason to talk to any of them.
I don't agree. No.
Except
Leah,
I want to talk to my mother, and
Well,
I've
yeah,
got
well,
to get someone to let me
that's
talk
right.
to my mother. So
Leah's
I
house
have
is
asked to
clean.
talk to my mother, and nobody is helping me to talk to my mother. And this is very upsetting, because my mother is used to, they used to say to me that my calls every day.
Well, you can, can't you
not
call the
bragging.
nurse home directly?
They used to say my calls were the highlight of their day. They saw nobody. They didn't socialize. I called and I talked to them like people and talked about subjects. And I tried to stimulate their minds. That's why I did it, to keep them socialized, to keep them from becoming demented, basically, by too much isolation. And I really put my heart into it. And I don't think any of my family realized how much I put into trying to care for them, even at this distance. And anyway, but the good news is that I continued to talk about Trump and tell the truth about him and tell the facts to my father, who was watching too much Fox. He stopped watching Fox. He started watching something else. And he voted for Biden before he died.
Oh, that's great. He's redeemed. He's saved.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful?
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, a 95, 96-year-old man, almost, he was able to change his mind and see the truth. And I'm so.
In his heart. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He thought he was a horrible man at the end. He thought he was a horrible.
he rests in peace now. See, what counts is the result. That's it. And I don't think when you said your family did a lot wrong for you, so in reply you can not talk with them back again. So I say no. Your heart is clean. Keep clean and never hate. You can't forget.
Tofi,
Yes.
can you hear me? It's Shirley. Tofi,
Yes,
there's
I
a lot of
Yeah, go ahead.
feedback.
I know, it's very bad here. The,
Very hard to
storm's
understand.
weather.
So much
It's
feedback.
only the weather. The weather. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, because I think we've said what we had. Satsuki, do you have anything to say about death? Sukena.
Yeah, Sabrina.
Oh,
We didn't hear you.
yeah.
Yes,
Go
she
ahead.
is.
Came from, was
Go ahead with
traveling
all the
for,
girls.
I was
Let's
traveling
listen to
for
Sukena.
like 3 hours. Do you hear me?
Yes.
I hear you. Yes, I hear you, honey.
So, like, just like before yesterday, my aunt's husband died. So I've seen
I'm so sorry.
grief. I've seen people crying. I've seen how people react to sudden death. I mean, a lot of people died in my family. So when you were talking about death, when you were talking about mixed feelings when it comes to people who died, and when you had already experienced a lot of things with them, it's quite, I quite relate to that. But like, once again, what I would like to say is just it's a normal part of life. The only thing that keeps me moving, because I've lost a lot of dear ones, is just that I'm gonna meet them one day, and life is not gonna last forever. So I just hope that keeps us going and breathing in this world without them. Pain never leaves. We just coexist with it. We think that we forgot
Well
about
said.
them sometimes, but we don't. they live with us. I mean, I still remember that when I lost my father's aunt, which was my nanny, I thought that I would never smile. And now, like, my father would be, telling me that you will forget, you will, just coexist with her loss. And even though it's been like 10 years now, whenever they mention her, I would cry. And now they stopped actually mentioning her when when I'm there with them, because for everyone there is like a valuable place. And when you lose them, when you lose somebody who's your emotional support in this world, you just
Sarah.
feel that you lost your soul twin. So you just coexist with this fact, and you just befriend the pain, even though you don't accept it. But this is how we go. This is how we embrace death. And one day we're all gonna die, and we're all gonna be, just news from the past. So that's what I say whenever, I feel very, I don't know, I just, refusing the idea of death. I always say that one day we're gonna all meet. One day this is all just gonna be, history. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Sakina.
Hey,
One day.
That's why
very lovely.
my favorite quote from His Holiness is very simple. My true religion is kindness.
Oh, I love that.
I just
Yeah.
love that.
Me too.
If everyone in this country, or even 2/3 of the people in this country, would start being kind.
Be nice to a neighbor. That's
Be
it. Be
nice.
nice to a stranger.
Smile at somebody. If there's
Kindness.
somebody serving you at the supermarket, say hello and how are
Yeah,
you?
exactly.
Exactly.
People don't do that. People don't do
Because,
that.
well, and
I do. I do it.
And
And I hope
also,
others do.
I'm gonna snap my fingers, because just like that, everything can change. Boom.
Exactly.
Surely, I believe in random acts of kindness.
Yes.
So do I.
Yeah.
Every
I mean,
day
well,
I try
you
to
know
do
what?
something
Yeah.
that
You know
nobody
what?
knows about.
Yeah.
That is a kindness. And
I
it's
don't do that every day right now because I'm isolated. I just stay
Yeah,
home.
I do go out and I do things. I leave like maybe a little card someplace that says "You matter."
Yes.
You matter.
Yeah.
Even if that's all I do, or even if it's just going to the spa and saying, "Underneath my mask, I'm smiling at you." I'll say to
I
the
love
person.
that.
And
That's amazing.
I believe it's so important, the small things. And if everyone did the small things and thought about that, about this is a humanity. We're all connected. We're all one beautiful, beautiful creation.
I think some people forget that our prime purpose in this life is to help each other,
Exactly.
Yes. It's
And the thing is,
cooperation.
at least if you cannot help them, don't hurt them at least.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If
If
you
you're
can't
just
hurt,
nice
if you
to them,
can't help, don't hurt.
You don't do that.
That's
You
the
hurt
motto.
yourself.
In
Don't
this
hurt
country,
yourself by
what's happened for the last, I think it's been going on for about 40 years. What used to be just normal Christianity has turned so dark and so violent, that with this evangelical, over the top on steroids movement, that it is filled.
Shirley, can I just tell you something, please, please,
Yes.
please? At the funeral on Saturday, my nephew is a pastor, and he was officiating, and he gave this, after we all gave good memories, we shared good memories of my dad, because there were a lot of good ones. And but then he gave his speech, and it was he is an evangelical, right-wing, far right-wing extremist. I almost believe he knows, he speaks Russian. He's been in Russia. There is a Viva evangelical movement going on in Russia. I kind of feel that he might be involved in that. He sounded so cult-like. He went on and on about things like, we must destroy our enemies. Now,
Oh,
what does
my
what
God.
does that have to do with my dad's funeral?
why would you do that?
Yeah.
We have to destroy our enemies.
This
Jesus
is
must.
exactly what Wendy is saying. It is something that has infected
I know.
and
Terrible.
taken over evangelical Christians. Not maybe every one of them, but enough that it's caused the rise in Trumpism. I mean, when you think of maybe the most immoral man in our lifetime to ever sit in the White House, it makes JFK's affair with Marilyn Monroe seem like what a this guy nothing but filth. He's a criminal inside out. He's nuts, crazy, and these
We must not
evangelical-
have this destruction
oh,
come
just-
true.
it's
Christianity is
I want to say one word.
about love. God is love.
Nope.
God is
Leah.
love. Love is
Remember,
God.
remember I told you that when my mom moved out, told these two evangelical women that she was going to move to California. This was in
I
2000.
remember.
She said they came to her. She called me late at night and she was sobbing and crying. And I, what's wrong? Oh my God, what's wrong? And she goes, are we gonna burn in hell?
Oh, for God's sake.
What?
That is my nephew.
I said, what, mother, what are you talking about? She said, well, Pam and Linda were here and they told me that you were going to burn in hell because you like the
Oh.
Dalai Lama. And if I move to California, I'm going to burn in hell with you. And I
I'm
said,
so sorry.
and I said, Mama, what did you do? And she said, I stood up and I walked to the front door and I said, get out and don't ever come back. But then she called me burst into tears. Those women, the last thing they are is walking in the feet of Jesus. That was so cruel. That was so awful. My mother was dying of terminal lung cancer.
That is a horrible thing. That is a horrible, horrible thing.
Once again, and you know what? It's not only these evangelists. All of the religious faith, most of them just express inside hatred. Okay, so they are not real. I said it before, religious or spiritual people. If they were spiritual, they would love everyone and they won't judge anyone because they are not the judge. But God is always judge who can judge everyone. But He do everything that help those creators free and live in peace. So
Exactly.
their faith is a threatening to all humans. And after all, I come back to evangelists. Evangelists consider, I saw a video, I was shocked. They were in the White House with Trump and they touched him and said, this is our new God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gee.
Because he was ending abortion, because he was ending immigration, he was everything that they wanted.
Yeah.
He's a,
Let me continue, Shirley.
Yes.
They said,
here's something scary, Tofi.
yeah,
My far right nephew who thinks that we're all going to burn in hell, and they all think I'm going to burn in hell. And I get phone calls still from family members telling me, are you covered in the blood or you're going to go to hell?
Oh, give me a break.
my God.
Why do you take the phone calls? I wouldn't
I
go
feel
on
very
the-
much that I
For
have religious
everybody.
abuse, that I've been religiously abused, but and still am. They think I'm going to burn in hell. It's not very nice when you know that your family thinks that you're going to burn in hell.
Disgusting.
But I wanted to know what Lisita thinks. I haven't heard Lisita. Would you say something? Because I think that you're a beautiful, beautiful woman who
Isn't
has
she?
something beautiful to
She's
say.
beautiful.
Well,
That's it.
I'll have to.
Lorena, we didn't hear you.
I'll have
I
to
don't want to
live
put
up
you on the
to that
spot, but
expectation. I just want to express love, and I listened to a lot of wisdom. It was a problem for me with hearing because of Tofi and Lynn's phones.
Okay, because we're in the same.
Computers were
Good.
echoing or something like that. But I
Can
heard
I
a
also-
lot. And I'm sorry that your father, whom you used to speak to every day, is no longer available for you to connect with. So my question to you is, are you managing to connect with your mother or not?
this is the thing, Lucita. I have asked my family who don't like me and don't care really, please let me be in touch with my mom. Help her to get in touch with me. I am available 27, 20, whatever it is,
24/7.
24/7. I am here. I want to talk to her. I have been doing this for weeks, constantly asking them, let me talk to mom. Nobody is helping her. Lorraine said, I asked the occupational therapist to help you talk to your mom. I mean, to mom, but it hasn't happened. And I have not talked to my mom this whole fucking time. And I'm really actually going.
In hospital or nursing home or extended care.
Nursing home.
She's still in quarantine at that damn place that they took her to. I mean, you know, they were at home 6 weeks ago. They were in their own home, and then suddenly they're in a one-room place. And you know, I asked my dad when he was still alive. I said, "Daddy, what do you see out the window? What do you see out the window? What do you see? What's in your room? I want to know what's going on. I want to see where you are. What do you see out the window?" He said, "I see nothing." I said, "What do you mean you see nothing?" He said, "Well, I see nothing. The blinds are always down." I said, "What do you mean the blinds are down?" And I got
Right.
extremely upset, and a nurse was around there, and she heard me, and I said, "The blinds must be open in the morning, and the sunshine and the sky must come through. And then in the evening, they can put the blinds down. Daddy, you deserve to have the sunshine come through the window. You deserve to have something out there. You deserve it. God, I had to ask them to take, I cannot believe that actually.
No, I can't believe that your sister allowed it. Your sister is
And
the
I
one
can't
who's in
believe that she
control.
won't help me talk to my mother.
No, that's
That's terrible.
horrible. I didn't have anybody to argue with. I did not want my mother in any kind of a home back in Oklahoma. I did not want my mother to die without me with her.
That's beautiful. I'm
I
so glad
haven't
you did
told-
it.
My brother was not available, and maybe someday I'll be able to tell you what happened. But
Please do.
it was I had to move her here. There was I couldn't leave because of my business, but I also was going back every third week to
Oh,
be
God.
with her for after chemo. But I also knew that I couldn't tell her, you've got to move to California, sell your house and move to California. She did that all on her own. And that year that I had with my mom out here, I know it was hard for her. There were times when I remember one time when I walked into the kitchen and she was crying, and I said, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And she said, "I don't know where I am."
Oh my God.
And I said, I was alarmed. I said, "What do you mean you don't know where you're at?" And she said, "I know I'm in California. I know I'm at your house on Termino. I know I'm in Long Beach. I know that, Shirley." She said, "But I wouldn't know how to tell anybody to get here."
Oh, boy.
And it just broke my heart. Just little things like that. But I'm so glad that both of us, I held her in my arms as she died. And I would never have had that experience if I hadn't brought her out here, but I had no obstacles. My brother was not available, and there were just the two of us. That was it. So
Your sister has power of attorney.
I can't fly there, you know. I'm not allowed to
no,
leave.
of
I'm in
course you can't.
lockdown. I can't be there.
Where?
Maybe you need to
with
Florida.
her
I
thought
can't
about
see my mother. I can't go to America. I can't. I asked her,
fly.
can you fly over here? Can you get someone to help you to be here? Because I would love to wheel her in her wheelchair along the
Oh, I
promenade.
know, I know.
I would love to care
I
for her.
got the
What did
biggest
you
kick,
do,
Wendy. My mom was very, very sick with terminal lung cancer, and yet she chose not to wear wigs. She wore a turban, and at the airport in Tulsa when I moved her out here, you won't. This is how crazy people are. The airport security took her turban off,
Oh,
for
I sure.
Christ's sake.
bald underneath. And she looked at me and started, tears welled up in her eyes. And
Oh.
all these people around watching this. And I said,
How did
how
you
could
do
you do
that?
that? I said, wait, you've got to hear this. I said, I can't believe you just did that. You put that turban back on her head. She said, she's dying of cancer. And he goes, well, I had to make sure grandma wasn't a terrorist.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh my God.
That's
Yes. Yes.
I am
Weird.
so sorry. I am
Weird.
so sorry. That's so humiliating
It
and
was,
so
they
wrong.
rifled through all of her luggage, throwing her underwear and her bras in front of
You're
all these people. Because this was, when we were still going through all the 9/11.
That-
Oh my
Yeah, there's a
God.
way to do it with humility.
We got on
There's
the
a way to do
plane,
it the right
Lynn.
way.
When we got on the plane and took off, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, do I look like a terrorist?
Oh, for God's sake,
Oh,
poor
my
woman.
mother. I could have
Poor
killed that man.
woman.
It was
What?
just a
They do this? Why they do? What is? Ah,
Look, Leah and Shirley.
makes my
they are
brain
given
go,
certain,
ah.
I know, but they are given certain rules that they have to follow. But there are ways to follow it. There's one with humility to do it the right way and say, I'm sorry, this is what I have to do.
Right.
And not to say we want to make sure that she isn't attacked. What a disgusting thing.
It was just horrible. Well, that's Oklahoma. That's the South, which has taken over the
Yeah.
whole freaking country.
Yes.
It's so
It's a
far away.
nightmare. It's a very big nightmare. I wish California and New Mexico, where Lasita is, because people like you, Lasita, we need like a whole lot of people like you. So
Yeah.
can you kind of clone yourself?
I've seen more evil out of white Anglo-Saxon men and
Right.
women now than I've ever seen out of somebody wearing a turban,
Very
a
true.
mask, or a scarf.
Very
I look
true.
at Sakina and she's so beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
She's just gorgeous. And yet, if you put her in the middle of a white supremacist group, they'd probably try to kill her.
That makes me sick to my stomach and
know,
also
yeah.
my heart, and also makes me have to know that I've got to let peace reign within my own body so that I do not become one of the problems, but become a help.
Exactly.
Because that makes me
It's awful
so
what this
furious,
country's done.
actually. I would, if I saw someone being abused like that, I would try to save them. I really would.
So
I
would
don't care
I.
if it killed me. I would try.
That's part of what we're here for.
I cannot bear to see that kind of bigotry and hatred. I have always been that way since I was a child. When I would see they had the black section.
Sophie,
of
turn your
people.
back for a minute. Don't listen.
You
You know what I say? Most of them, it's probably because their weenies are that little.
What did you say?
I'm not going to say it again.
Leaving Lasita.
I got you. The winnings. Yes. What does it mean? And all their winnings are seen. I didn't. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend anybody.
Explain.
Didn't that offend you?
Okay.
I'll bet
Listen,
you Donald
Shirley,
Trump's is about that big.
Take care. Keep in touch.
I want to do something, Shirley.
What?
Okay, you hear me?
Keep in
I don't
touch.
care.
Please keep in
I
touch.
just, okay, listen.
Okay, let's
I
get
don't
back.
care.
Rosita, please keep in touch.
What?
Lasita, please keep in touch.
I was trying to say goodbye, but Tofi, I want to hear what you have to say first.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna torture him.
Yeah, I'll speak now. Okay, I'm waiting. Ready?
Go ahead.
Go.
I don't care. Listen. Okay, how is it? Okay, can I start?
You never stop. So
You
go
got
ahead.
20 seconds.
Stop.
Go ahead.
I am a
20
human.
seconds.
I am a global human guy. I don't believe in all bullshit religious stuff. I love everyone. I don't care if my shit is say bullshit or fucking or friggin'. What I care of is let's be a human. Let's love each other. I'm not a terrorist, ISIS, Arab,
Okay, don't think enough.
I ever know, ever I pray 5 times a day, ever I love my religion. I love Jewish brothers and sisters. I love Christian brothers and I love everyone.
Hallelujah.
So the point, don't create any stereotype. All what you see in the mass media is just bullshit. Even in my Islamic bullshit countries, the conclusion is that if you want to live in peace, just make others feel good. I'm not a kind of Christian who says if they scratch your right, you give them your left. No, the only way to keep in peace here in this life and in the afterlife is to have peace in heart.
Okay, thank you,
Especially
sir.
with listen, especially with people who hurt you. You know what? It's hard. But believe me, I used to have a dad who is a spiritual leader in here where he lives. He didn't have a bird. He didn't have a sign here because it cost me too much. Okay? He loved everyone. He was holding the Holy Quran. As many brothers and sisters Jewish hold the Torah, as many brothers and sisters hold the Bible, and all Protestants or Buddha thoughts. So my point is that my dad always told me, never be judged or hate
Exactly.
anyone. It's not your business or any other business. Only God. Call it
I think we all know this.
call it
It's the idiots
Oh,
and crazies that
listen.
are out there that this country
Love
has
everyone.
wrong.
Love
Exactly,
everyone.
Shirley, that's what it
Love
is.
everyone. And do your job. It's
Okay.
not them, it's you. If we clean our side, we will live in peace in this life and more importantly in the hereafter. Because I believe in the hereafter and there's anyone who don't believe in other life.
Okay, thank you,
That's
Chelsea.
it. Have
Okay.
peace inside. I said it all.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Okay,
Rosita, can I just say one thing to you, darling? Please. I am very interested in your philosophy and
Yeah.
your take on things. And if you ever feel moved to tell me more,
I'd love for you to tell us all more.
I would
Yes,
love
please.
I would love very much to hear more because
Yes,
I
me
think
too.
that you have
Me too.
something to impart, and your archaeological interest as well is part of a whole connection into life and the meaning of everything that is connected.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
Do you think you would ever like to share that with me?
When the words flow, I'll let them. And I value all of you. And Leah, yes, I'll I'll find a way, and maybe I'll do it in this group. So we'll see.
Oh, I would love that.
Wonderful.
Okay, great.
Can I ask? Can I
Okay,
ask?
everyone.
Can I ask
Bye,
for?
my darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
May I ask for a prayer, please?
Please go. Yes.
My
Sure.
former sister-in-law, who lost her husband to COVID last April, she has now been diagnosed with cancer of the blood.
Oh,
Blood.
Let's
And
go.
she's on. She takes a pill every day for chemo. She's constantly sick. It's
I know that feeling.
And you know, my brother was married, but they were a couple and married for 35, 36 years.
Wow.
He's devastated, absolutely devastated.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll pray for her. We will pray for
Her
her.
name is Suzanne. Prayers would be appreciated.
Okay, you got it. Don't worry.
You
Okay,
have it. I
everyone,
offer
thank you.
love to all of you, and goodbye, and love to you, and peace. Okay.
That's right. Thank you, everybody, for
Namaste.
coming. Topher, let me say what I have to say.
I'm sorry if I was quite loud.
You're
but I
fine.
listen, I only expressed what I didn't express before. I love you.
Okay.
Peace.
I think that's the one wonderful thing about this group is that we all feel this way about each other. So we're hoping that maybe Lorena will speak next Monday. And if she doesn't, I'm going to ask Sukaina, who we haven't heard very much from. Maybe she'll speak about something. It doesn't have to be something that makes us sad. It can be something that makes us happy. So we'll also say prayers for Shirley's sister-in-law. And let's just hope that together we can make this a better world. Remember, ladies, there's writing due on peace. Sukaina and Leah, that was due February 1st, but I know the two of you are never, on time, so I'm just reminding you again. Okay, thanks, everybody. And thanks, Tofi, for arranging the meeting. Bye.
Love you, Lynn. Love you, Tofi.
Love you.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Bye-bye, Leah.
Lynn, can I call you?
Anytime, honey.
I'm going to call